Did you know that Ahmedabad used to be called the Manchester of India? The city's textile industry dates back to the 19th century, when cotton garments manufactured here were exported around the world. Ahmedabad is also home to the Self-Employed Women's Association, or SEWA. Set up in 1972, SEWA helps women in the informal economy formalize through the creation of collectives and cooperatives. Earlier this week, Dr. Sarah Alldred and I spent 2 days visiting some of SEWA's co-ops and meeting some of their members. SEWA is well known in Ahmedabad, a teacher at the local Mahatma Gandhi International School told us.
SEWA is very well known. Yeah. It's I think some ex-students of MGIS also have worked with SEWA, so it's very well known.
Our first stop was at SEWA's premises, where we were welcomed by the chair of SEWA Co-operative Federation, Mirai Chatterjee, and its managing director, Jikisha Maheta.
And under a tree across the river, SEWA was born when a group of women workers who were street vendors mainly, old clothes vendors, said, why don't we have an organization for ourselves? So when Ila Bhatt went to the trade union registrar, he couldn't understand this kind of trade union. Who will you agitate against? Who will you fight against? And she said, we are from the informal economy. 40% then and now, maybe even more now, workers in the informal economy are self-employed. We don't have an employer, but we have many issues. So we would like to organize into a union, and that is how SEWA was born in 1972.
Our next stop was at SEWA Cooperative Bank, the first cooperative to be set up by SEWA in 1974. The bank's managing director, Jai Shri Vyas, described how the bank was established to serve self-employed women and low-income households.
So Ilaben said this is impossible because all those women were, first of all, they did not have money, and the second thing was also that they did not know how to run a bank. But they were saying that we are poor, but we are many, and we definitely need any kind of bank. It was it was not very easy. But what these women did was that there were 4,000 women at that time. All 4,000 women say that we have some money and we will give 10 rupees. 10 rupees. 10 rupees for making a bank. And the second thing they said that we also want to start a saving. So we'll also put 10 rupees for savings. And they came back and they said, no, now we have money, we should do it. And it was very difficult. I always say it was difficult, but somehow or other Ilaben had such a kind of thing. So finally, the bankers say that yes, we can do it. So that is how in 1974 it was decided and it was started.
SEWA Bank offers savings, loans, and microinsurance products as part of a full-circle service to help poor women become self-reliant. The bank operates on trust and does not require guarantees. If someone fails to pay, community leaders remind them of their debt. Around 60% of the women taking loans from SEWA Bank are not digitally trained. This means the bank employees have to collect the money in person from the borrowers' homes. But the relationship between the bank and the borrower is not confined to one transaction. It is a continued relationship of mutual trust. Our journey continued with a visit to the Sri Keda Fruit and Vegetable Cooperative, where we were able to engage with the co-op's farmer members. They told us how being members of the co-op means they can pool resources and bypass middlemen. The farmers also wanted to find out more about the challenges faced by co-ops in other countries, such as attracting young people.
So Hanshaben had a strategy to attract more women to participate, active participation. So what she used to do is she made payment and voucher for Sharda Ben in the board meeting itself. so that members and board members can notice that Sharda Ben is earning while helping the cooperatives, right? So that's how they also get motivated, and they also inspired that, oh, if she is also earning from selling the seeds and equipments, then we should also think about it, and we may start earning while associating with the cooperative.
This concluded our first day of visits. Our second day began with a trip to one of SEWA's pharmacies. Located across the road from a hospital, the pharmacy is worker-run and open to the public. SEWA operates 4 pharmacies, 2 of which are open 24 hours. Its members are informal workers associated with SEWA. The pharmacy remained open during COVID, fulfilling a crucial role in its local community. Both employees we met had been working at the pharmacy for over 2 decades. We asked one of them why she had chosen to stay with the organization for so long. She told us that when she started working at the pharmacy, she earned 900 rupees a month. Shortly afterward, she received an offer from a competitor for 2,500 rupees a month. She said she refused to leave because she felt she was working for a good cause. Now she earns 30,000 rupees a month. We left the pharmacy and headed towards the SEWA Sangini Childcare Cooperative, where we met the co-op's childcare workers. The nursery is based in an impoverished area of Ahmedabad and is one of SEWA's 13 childcare centers. The center is open to SEWA members as well as people in the local community who begin engaging with SEWA through the childcare center and often use some of its other services as a result. Children of street vendors are amongst those being cared for. At the center, they receive 3 meals a day, lessons, and are seen every 3 months by a doctor. The nursery also engages with parents regularly, including fathers, to ensure they are aware of their responsibilities. Parents pay only 500 rupees a month for the service, which means that SEWA relies on donations to run the center. While at the center, we met some of SEWA's insurance agents. They told us that explaining the concept of insurance to informal economy workers is challenging. One employee shared that she used to sell saris when she came across a SEWA insurance agent. She realized she could sell insurance products to her sari clients. She now collects premium payments from 2,900 SEWA members. Another SEWA insurance employee told us she had grown up in a SEWA childcare center and now works for SEWA's marketing team. SEWA's insurance business has different product lines: regular insurance, healthcare insurance, wage loss insurance, accident insurance, and medical treatment insurance. We left the center and headed towards SEWA's production unit of Ayurvedic medicines, which was one of the beneficiaries of the funding allocated by UK co-ops to SEWA in 2021.
Cooperative support us for the solar panel, and also one of our initiative for the health center. So some amount they are also supported for that. And also during the COVID, they support us for provide some medicines or some kits.
The Ayurvedic Production Center is operated by the Loksvastia SEWA Cooperative, which was established in 1990 to provide women in the informal economy with access to basic health services. Today, the co-op has over 1,500 members. The medicine produced here is sold in SEWA's pharmacies, general practitioner centers, and online. After visiting the center, we headed back to SEWA's premises to meet some of the young women participating in its Surujan program, which is funded by UK co-ops. But how did this support come about?
There was quite a severe outbreak of COVID in India. The UK cooperative movement wanted to support cooperatives as an act of solidarity and as an act of Principle 6, which is cooperation amongst cooperatives. So we reached out to SEWA Federation, which is here, and we spoke to Mirai Ben, and the UK movement raised £100,000 to send in solidarity to SEWA Federation, and that's why we're here. We're here to, so £70,000 of that fund was for direct support, so oxygen tanks, for masks, and also for working capital to help cooperatives survive through COVID. And then the £30,000 was for the 2 projects, the 2 incubator cooperatives that we helped. And thank you to Veena and to the team here for supporting, and to you as well for being involved. So that's why we're here. It's just to kind of visit, to say hello, and we're here in solidarity.
The project focused on providing research and communication skills to young women in Ahmedabad. As part of this, they also received soft skills and self-defense training. The young women we met told us that before taking part in the program, they had never been allowed to leave their homes unaccompanied by male family members. They said the program had helped them gain confidence. Some were even able to get jobs by using the new skills they had acquired. They were also curious to know whether the UK had any women-only co-ops. As part of our SEWA tour, we also paid a visit to Ella Bath's house. The founder of SEWA passed away in 2022, leaving behind a huge legacy. We met her son and sister, both of whom were keen to learn more about SEWA's current work and the wider cooperative movement. Our last stop was Mirai Chatterjee's house, where we were able to delve deeper into the issues of concern to SEWA and its members. Here's what Mirai had to say.
So lovely to have you here with us, Sarah and Anka. We're delighted that you're visiting our cooperatives and visiting the SEWA Co-operative Federation. And you asked about the fund. First of all, I want to say that it was really touched us deeply because it's solidarity in action. It's cooperative to cooperative in action. It is sisterhood in action. And we have not been able to forget that. It really touched us deeply. And we were able to support a dozen cooperatives, small women cooperatives across India. Two of them were savings and credit cooperatives, which almost went under because women couldn't pay back their loans. So we were able to use some of the money as working capital. Our sisters in Nagaland, who formed a new cooperative, started a little shop during COVID of their products. This is just two examples, but basically this money helped to keep the cooperatives afloat during COVID, which was a really important support and solidarity. Most of the cooperatives took working capital from us from 300,000 to 500,000 rupees. And the interesting thing is that many of them, in fact most of them, paid it back. Wow. We didn't take any interest. We had a small margin just for audit and other administrative costs. But we thought this was a good practice. So some of it was grant for some of the smaller cooperatives who were struggling. But the savings and credit cooperative, our health cooperative, which produces traditional medicines, all of them return the money. So the fund is still with us, a big chunk of the fund, and we're able to lend to others like smaller farmer cooperatives. The other impact, and so of course it kept these cooperatives afloat, as I said, but the other impact is that from this experience, we have been advocating with our government that if you want to support women's cooperatives, small informal worker cooperatives, through good times and bad, not just during crises, then you need to create this kind of livelihood fund, which will provide working capital either as soft loans or some kind of revolving fund, so that the cooperatives can grow and prosper. And the cooperatives have shown their resilience through the whole COVID pandemic period. So really, as I said, we are very touched and grateful to the UK cooperative movement. And as I said, this is solidarity in action. You put action, just not words.
And could you also just talk a little bit about, so we raised, so it's £100,000, so £70,000 came towards that, and then there was another £30,000 to support young women to set up some cooperatives. Could you maybe just talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the things we've been observing is that it's quite a challenge to get young people involved in the cooperative movement. And our second, third and fourth generation SEWA members now want to do different things. They don't want to necessarily be a farmer or a street vendor. They want to be part of the new economy. They're more educated. They understand digital tools. So with your support, we created a small collective of women, young women actually, and they were trained in communication, in use of technology, in data entry and analysis of the data, and actually writing up the reports. So they formed a group that is doing more than research. It's a team of grassroots researchers plus communication plus analyzing data, and we've been able to give them work through some of our own programs. Like, for example, we have a program where we are training future leaders of SEWA, and we wanted a baseline. They did the baseline for us. And now there is a foundation with whom we've linked up called the Piramal Foundation, and they're doing a little bit more training of the women, and then they'll all be placed, so they'll get regular livelihood opportunity. So again, this is a first for us and something new that we're trying, but it seems to be going well.
Yeah, and it was fascinating because myself and Anka met with the women this morning, young women, and they said some of the challenges which we hadn't realised was parental, so maybe could you just, what's that about and what?
Sure. So as you perhaps are aware, we live in a very patriarchal society, and one of the ways that that's manifest is control of women and girls' mobility.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for girls and women to come out of the home if they are unattended or unsupported by a male family member. So it has taken a lot of work with the parents to explain that they're not wandering here and there. We're all together as a group.
Yeah.
They're safe and they're with us. They're with SEWA, and this is a new way of coming together, forming a collective and hopefully a cooperative soon, and getting regular livelihood in the new economy.
And one of the women said this morning, before the project, she'd never left her home on her own. Whereas now, through the group, she leaves, and now she's getting herself more involved with local politics, and it was inspiring.
It is.
But because we're culturally different, it was it was hope.
And the biggest challenge was when they had to go to the rural areas and stay overnight and do some of the survey work, data collection.
Yeah.
So, our colleagues in the SEWA Co-operative Federation had to be with them, had to do the hand-holding, had to do a lot of back and forth with the parents.
Yeah.
And then they trust SEWA because most of the women, the mothers and aunts, are members of SEWA.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say thank you. This is the beginning of a partnership, with the UK cooperative movement, so let's see where that goes with the launch of the Fund for International Cooperative Development. But I just want to say, it's been an honour for you to invite us here this week. Myself and Anka it's been an immersion into SEWA, so thank you so much.
You're very welcome, and it's been wonderful to have you and Anka with us, and to be deepening our ties. The ties between our country and the UK are also quite old ties, but this is a new way of bringing us all together and building solidarity.
Definitely. Thank you.
We headed back to our hotel for a late-night flight to Dubai, from where we took another flight to Manchester. While our visit was short, the UK International Cooperative Working Group support for SEWA is a long-term commitment.